Hi everyone, welcome to the Botanic Shed. We've got Zoë Vita James with her Feng Shui energy insights tonight. And it's a very special evening because she is focusing on Feng Shui for our gardens, which we're all very excited about. So without further ado, but with special thought to all people in the world worried and caring and sending love to people in Ukraine, sending them so much love, and to the people in Ukraine and on the front line, we'll send them lots of love. And at the end of our call, if we all take time to just think of them and send them love, that would be really, really nice. And we'll all be empowered and energized. So we'll be full of energy and full of brightness. So it'll be a really good time to think of people who need that. Okay, Zoe, thanks very much for joining us, and I'll go on mute now.
Perfect. Thank you, Lara. I mean, yeah, actually, that's a really good point to start from. And there's quite a few segues that come off from that. But actually, just to throw in a Feng Shui piece of advice, which is a classical technique. I've never used it before. I've only come across it now this month because of everything that's been going on. It's a technique that one of the Chinese emperors, one of the most successful ones, used. Don't need to know where and why, etc. But essentially, if you put the recommendation is putting the Ukrainian flag in your northeast or east of your house as a way of helping to heal the situation. It sounds symbolic. It sounds a little bit crazy. I don't know the background of it, but hey, it's worth giving it a try. So yeah, the thought on that. But
Zoe, can I ask, does it have to be the Ukrainian flag, or can it be something blue and yellow?
That's a really good question. Let me consult my notes. I think it's a flag. Let me just see where I got it from, actually. You know what, Serena? I can't see it now where I got it from. It's from my own mental Feng Shui mental, but I can't see. I thought I read flag. What I'll do is I'll double check and confirm, via whatever route we think's best. I've done the flag, but it could well be. I mean, if nothing else, blue and yellow. I agree, actually, Serena. Okay, so things let's talk about today. So definitely about the energy of this month. And I mean, I was unwell, as you know, last month, so I sadly wasn't able to be here. And a lot has happened in that time. And last month, crikey, was so aggressive on a global scale. But I also think it was quite aggressive in, well, my life, actually. And quite a lot of women have been saying the same thing. There's no coincidence that last month was a water tiger month in a water tiger year. It's like double tiger. The actual dates that Putin invaded, I haven't gone into the details, but basically it lines up. It's just huge aggression. Tiger is the most aggressive animal. Pounces, is the aggressor, moving forward. So when I said maybe January, I think, when we had our last thing about the energy of this year coming, and it will be a lot more dynamic and fast-paced and forward-moving and moving forwards. I mean, this is the other extreme of it. And the cure, on a purely technical basis, the cure for the tiger is to throw absolute yin at it. So it's like, I really feel that, back to what you were saying, Lara, about the women particularly affected in Ukraine, there's a huge spotlight on the role of women. That's what I see from this. And that is the solution as well to all this male aggression. And this month is the month of the rabbit, which is very yin. Rabbit is a symbol for mother. It's a symbol for gentle movement, for gentle creativity. The rabbit's the natural gardener, hence why I also wanted to talk about gardening this month. The healer is a sort of natural healer. a homemaker, nurturer. And there's some, and I feel like, I know this is only in our own level, but if maybe all women come together at this level, about nurturing our yin in our life, and I think wisdom for us about direction in life, etc., will come from being in touch with our yin, be that going for a gentle walk in the morning in the trees, in the woodland. I say the morning because that's the time of wood, which is the rabbit. Wisdom will come from that, and direction, rather than a male approach, aggressive approach and loud approach, which is yang. And I think, so it's not surprising that only a couple of days ago, which was the start of the rabbit month, was the 5th, so about 5 days ago now, we also saw those pictures of the prams that Polish mothers have been putting on the rail stations for Ukrainian mothers arriving. It's just, there's so much focus on the strength of women, and maybe some good will come out of that at some level. So I think this month is more gentle. I mean, not in the business of forecasting global events, but there is a level at which you can look at this. Next month, April, is a dragon month, which is a far more active month. I don't know if we're going to see huge concerted change this month. Maybe next month there will be big transformation and action that we'll see. Again, that's global level, that's our own lives as well. So the sort of best way to use this month is to ride the gentle movement forward of the rabbit, which is sort of keep moving forwards, keep progressing, but pace yourself. Don't run, don't rush at it. This is a month for gentle movement, not for crazy movement. It's also a really good month for networking. So if you're deciding whether to join a networking event that you're signed up for and you're like, oh, this is actually a good month to do that. Okay. It supports that activity. There is, it's also a month, so when I say about moving forwards, it's about moving forward positively as well. I think there's a real feeling in the air, and Lara and I were talking about this earlier, where it's tough time, and there's the hexagram that rules this month, which I know we haven't talked about before, is a hexagram of great power and looks like a spiral, spiraling upwards. And I read from this that actually it will benefit us all, and me included, if we choose to spiral upwards. So when we face a challenge, make a choice to spiral upwards gently. Yeah, you know what I mean by that kind of spiraling upwards. Yeah. And then, so the month is about, it's a rabbit about gardening. Shall I talk favoured animals? So if you've got this in your charts, those of you that know already what your animals are, this is helpful. Tiger, sheep, and pig. So sort of the month brings some harmony and opportunities to make the most of them. Lara, I know you've got sheep and pig, I think, in your chart, so take comfort from that. Then the challenged animals, horse may feel a little bit drained. Tread with care, particularly regarding relationships. Dragon, conflicted loyalties, but no, it's not really your conflict, so just let go of it, don't get involved. The rat, there's a risk of feeling of overwhelm and lack of proportion. Best way to deal with that is just to breathe into it. Just breathe and loosen up, because a rat likes to control and have a plan and a strategy, and sometimes you just can't control anything. And the rooster may also feel a bit of the rooster is diametrically opposite the energy of the month. So it will be a kind of give and take constantly. The rooster will be wanting to compete for attention. I don't think there's anyone with a rooster from memory here, but yeah. Neva will come to what yours are later. In fact, you have got, from memory, a horse and dragon. So those two that I just said were relevant.
Oh, okay.
But it's only a month, you know, like this too shall pass is also something I always think of. And it's sometimes helpful to know this stuff, to know when you might be feeling in a pickle, you're like, oh, that's kicking in. Let go of that. Places to be this month. Alleluia, the northeast, which for me is really important because where my office is. I couldn't be here like last month and the month before. Now the northeast is a really good place to be for study. So if you have your home office in the northeast, that is a good place to be, or at least spend some time there for quiet work. I'd say actually kind of still work. East and the southeast also is the kind of a wealth area this month. Wealth meaning not just money, but meaning like abundance and prosperity in your life. So, which also means gardening, because the southeast and east is gardening. It's just the east energy is all about gardening and new life. Where not to be, the south is quite tricky this month. So I would try to avoid spending too much time in the south. For the rest of the year, the south is the best place to be, and have bright light and be really active in and do your home work out there, etc. But just this month, keep it quiet, or you can throw a load of metal at it, but that gets a bit more tricky. And the southwest, this is quite a nice, easy thing to do, is a bowl of water every day, place there, change it to keep it fresh, just like a breakfast bowl of water. And the southwest is about relationships, and not just romantic, but just relationships generally, and also a spiritualness, the kind of a yin. It's the place for most yin. By putting a bowl of water there, you are activating an energy that it's like an increasing connection with your spirituality, the spiritual energy there. So that's quite a nice proactive thing we can all do this month. So that's the Feng Shui for this month. Shall I list the lucky days and then we'll go to Neve's chart? So Friday the 11th, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow is a good day. So this week's been a bit tricky actually, but I've particularly held off on a couple of phone calls and things just to do tomorrow morning, because I knew I had to do that this week. So tomorrow is a good day for success stuff. So stuff you want to bring in success into your life, do them tomorrow. And ideally do it in the east of your house for extra boost. The next lucky day is, tell me if I'm going too fast, because I can see like Serena scribbling. Next lucky day is Sunday the 20th.
That's spring equinox.
Exactly, it is. Just a coincidence that it is, because I don't always fall, but you're right, it coincides with that, yeah. And it's a day for initiating things. And for keeping records. Like, for example, initiating starting to do better financial records, for example. I think I need to do that. So that's Sunday the 20th. The next is Wednesday the 23rd, which is a day of good cheer, which is quite rare this month, but it favours someone who is a really good day to kind of push the boat out. It's a success day again, and for fresh starts. It will support you in fresh starts and the start of long-term plans. Like, you'll find that obstacles are lower than they normally are. And that's for sheep and rabbit particularly, that's very helpful, Laura. Thursday the 31st is the next one. Keep your eye on the ball, because there are openings that could be easy to miss, but they will be happening that day. And the last positive day is Friday the 1st of April. Again, it's new moon. Again, a coincidence that this lucky day falls on a new moon. But it's a day again for fresh starts. It's interesting, actually, there's quite a lot of days about fresh starts this month, which coincides with spring, maybe. Sort of day to push the boat out and initiate. It's also, I don't know if anyone uses crystals, but new moon's always a good day to wash your crystals that are crystals for bringing in helpful energy, rather than crystals that dispel, you're used to get rid of negative energies. So like things like rose quartz, which is for bringing in love, etc. That's a really good day to like wash under spring water and leave out under the moon overnight to recharge it. And ideally do that every month. I sometimes forget, but yeah. So that's lucky days. Spotlight. So Neve, I think you already, I remember I looked through my emails and I sent you your,
yes, you did.
But let's talk about them a bit later.
Yes, please.
What I mean. So 4 pillars: a pillar for your year, a pillar for your month, your day, and your hour. Let me tell you, because you know what your animals are, but I'll tell you the elements attached to them first. So your year is a water rat. Your month is a fire horse. Okay. I don't know if you're writing these down. I can send them.
No, yeah, would you mind saying? Sorry.
Yeah, I'll send to Laura, and then yeah, and then, if that's okay, Laura, and then pass them over. Yeah, cool. Or yeah, and then day is a metal dragon, and then your hour is a water horse, and you're just on the cusp of moving time-wise into a new pillar, which often means there's sort of change afoot. And I think it's change to do with your mother, looking at this. And it may well be to do with becoming more like your mother. Yeah, like not imitating her, but seeing her values, maybe seeing her in new eye, fresh eyes, and seeing how she was, and whether she's maybe becoming more your role model.
Okay.
And that happens to all of us as we grow older. We sort of like
yes.
At some point we think, yes, our mums are actually very wise.
Yes.
But that's one reading of it.
Okay.
So you are the thing I really like to focus on most is the day element. So that I said is in your day you're a metal dragon, and your element specifically is yang metal, which is interesting because yang metal, this is about yourself, your true self, and it might be who you not everyone will know you as this. It will only be people that are quite close to you. People will see what you look like on your outside, which is your year, your month, but you yourself, the yang metal is tough, resolute. You have grit about you. You kind of have a natural independent spirit. In fact, that's running throughout your chart. And you need space to make your own decisions. If you get told what to do, you will react to that.
Yes.
Yeah. And just finding my notes. Disappeared.
I love listening to people getting to know each other. It's so good.
Yeah, it's like I can know you. So this is like is it correct or not? There we go. Actually, it's interesting because it's interesting you're a gardening specialist, because actually yang metal would generally be someone who's drawn to sciences and analysis.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and that's what I thought as well, actually. But it can mean sometimes being too much in your head. Like sometimes a yang metal person is drawn to being very calculative and actually needs to exercise their intuitive side.
Okay.
I don't know if that's quite so true for you, because the rest of your chart is there's a lot of fire in your chart, and and you've got 2 horse, and you've got, particularly in your career is your career pillar, which is month, which is fire horse, is the natural. You have a natural comfort with being in the limelight, it would suggest.
Okay.
And being in front of camera. You're also incredibly eloquent. That's the other 2 pillars. But there's a thing about comfortable talking. There are a couple of podcast people I follow, presenters, and I've looked up their date of birth and their yang water, and it's got a similar thing to your chart, where someone who is just able to chat and talk without too much discomfort. Other people might have. There's a lot here about fresh ideas, being independently minded, a kind of creative innovator.
I think we've lost me.
Has she just disappeared?
Oh, no.
We'll have to wait for her. She's very independent. She's gone off on her own.
Thank you for telling me. I was just like, oh no. She obviously, there was something that upset her.
I want to wait for her to be back, but I just love what you said, because it's going to be really confidence building for her, all this, because I do think she's fantastic. She did, and in the camera, and she's very eloquent and everything, and I think this is really going to build her confidence up. Fantastic. And also the scientific side, I can see. I know she's not here, I'm going to say it again, but she's very interested in the science of gardening, so you can tell.
Who is she? That is interesting. Okay.
But she doesn't just say she's interested in, but you can, when she gets excited about the bits.
Yeah, like the precision bit. Okay, repeat that. Yeah.
Leave your back. I was just saying how lovely it is to hear all this, and I was just saying how I think it will build your confidence up no end. We can't hear you still, you're on mute.
And we can continue.
I think that's great. Sorry, a call came in and I pressed the wrong button.
Okay, that's okay.
It's all very interesting. Thank you. I'm loving it.
Yes,
but I'll continue. There's a few things actually Lara just said when you were away about how the science thing does resonate with Lara, that you get excited when you're talking about the science of gardening. And the elemental balance, when I said you've got a lot of fire in your chart, you do actually need more metal. So it's interesting, wood. So the element that relates to wealth for you is wood. So being a gardener, I would say, is spot on from a kind of wealth perspective.
Oh, okay. Right.
Element that relates to relationship with you, kind of romantic relationship, is fire. And I don't, from the very high level look at this chart, it looks like you don't have a problem in that area. And I have no idea about your background in that way. What I think you do need to boost yourself, because you're a yang metal person without much metal in your chart to support your metal self. That makes sense.
Oh, okay. Yes.
You're born in a season that is not a metal season. So you are actually known as a weak, and there's nothing good or bad about being weak or strong. It's just what you need elementally to boost you.
Yeah.
You need more metal to boost you, and more earth. Sorry.
Oh.
Yes, earth, because earth feeds metal.
Okay.
And so, and there's different ways of doing this. One is like being in the west and northwest of your house, but that requires really looking at your house more and more detail. But at a very simple level, actually, precision and analysis, those kind of activities, I would encourage you to do more of, and to follow the kind of science element of your work.
Okay. Okay.
Because the gardening, the wood, is your wealth element, so crack on with that.
Yes.
But
okay.
Bringing in the science element and more, I don't know what you're like in a kind of organization specific way, but like the horse in your chart tends to not like planning and is very spontaneous, whereas I would say encourage you that actually planning and having plans and kind of analysis and precision is helpful for you yourself.
Okay.
The other thing I'd say is and like metal is the autumn season, so you might find you feel stronger in autumn.
Okay.
Also the afternoon and late afternoon hours of the day. I'd recommend those as helpful times for you. Like,
okay.
don't waste those times of day. Like I try and make the most of the wood hours of the day because that's what I need, and do what's important to me those, which is morning.
Yes.
So do what's important to you in the afternoon and later.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And for you, and I, of kind of like a favorable directions for you to face, and this is really helpful sometimes, but for wealth, face southwest. For health, if you're feeling not so healthy, face northwest. And for love life, in relationships in general, actually face west. And if you're feeling just a little bit like you need some stabilizing influence in your life, face northeast. Those are your kind of favorable things to face. And I say this for when you're sitting at a desk, because you're kind of moving about all the time in your work, I guess, because you're in the garden. But when you're sitting at a desk or sleeping, this is your head direction. And ideally sitting on the sofa watching TV or a movie for a long time, but that's not that long, so don't worry about that much. So that's sort of a high level. So I think things about science is what sings out.
Yes.
And looking at your heart, maybe at some level.
Yes. Okay, lovely.
Perfect.
Oh, lovely.
Cool.
That's wonderful. That's good to know. I find it fascinating and kind of it gives me energy. Just even thinking about it gives me energy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So much energy. And
well, my pleasure. And the fact that you are just full of fresh ideas, know that, and that you're incredible. Eloquence you can trust, because you can do that, and you're great. This chart would be like you're great in front of camera, and people's ideas are very bright.
Thank you.
I agree with all of that.
Oh, thank you, Lara.
Cool. Well, so I think the last bit is gardening and Feng Shui for gardening.
Oh yeah.
About that. And this may well be the start, because most people here, I think everybody, are interested gardeners. And so maybe we expand on this topic in future sessions. Let's have a see if it's helpful or not. If I get minutes. So Feng Shui in gardens, and Neve, you said you wouldn't even know that was a thing, and it is. When I go to see people's houses, I do calculate the energy outside the house. There's like 24 areas out on the perimeter of a house. There's so many things to look at, and for example, there might be an area that's best to have a tall tree, or an area that's best to have rounded bushes, or an area that's best to have a tall climbing frame because it's something tall. So we go down to that level, but that's on a kind of personalized house by house and the people in the house to suit them. So can't really talk about that here, but there are general rules that are very helpful and powerful to follow. And so kind of, I was thinking, this is the month, I'm sure you've all been planning it way ahead, much further ahead than I have, but I'm starting to think about colours for my balcony, flowers for this year. And so, and the colours are in harmony. If you have colours that are in harmony with the energy of that area, then that brings you more harmony in your life. It's not aggravating energy. So kind of working around the compass, actually, the northeast area, and this is taken, actually I should say this because it's garden, this is measured still from the center of your home. So when you're standing in the center of home, where is the northeast? The northeast is, in your garden, whereabouts is it roughly? the northeast is where the sort of sun starts to rise. And generally, because of that, it's got this kind of wood energy of early morning. It's very appropriate for greens, I guess because it's shady, actually. So it makes sense that kind of green, I'm trying to think of the plant, it's a hosta, where they don't need so much light, for example. You get those lush green plants. I'm talking to a load of gardeners and I'm not very good at my plant knowledge, but yeah, okay, cool. So dark lush greens. The other thing in the northeast, just specifically for this year, and I know you don't really want to be changing plant colours around year on year, but you may well be, some annuals that you use, but red, because the northeast is a good place to put fire specifically this year for wealth luck, to activate it. Or in fact, even better, bistro lights and lights outside in the northeast area of your garden is a good thing to do this year for wealth luck. Then moving around to kind of the east. East is always the place for greens, lush greens, grasses, and blue colours. The east is the area of wood energy, and wood energy relates to greens, jades, turquoises. I mean, you don't get flowers in those colours, but if you can also use this for like colours of your cushions, if your garden is that area and you've got outdoor cushions, etc., and furniture.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't mind if I say this. This is and interrupting your flow, but this blue thing and what you just said about the wood, which is what I am.
Yes.
When I close my eyes and I see green and blue, blue central and green surrounding it a lot, and that's what I see. Yeah, and that's why I put it in the logo, and Serena works the logo around those colours. So it's really interesting that's what I see, especially when I'm being, in a healing or in meditation.
Yeah, that's kind of
fascinating.
Colours you see as aura. Yeah, and actually, it's lovely to say that. For the same reason, I use blue. I've been drawn to blue and green and some red from my logo, for the same reason that wood is important for me elementally, and wood is also blues. Yeah. So, I love it when this happens, when it lines up. Thank you for sharing that. Next, sort of southeast, which is kind of where I've got all my flowers on my balcony. My balcony, of course, is only one aspect of my house, so it's northeast to southeast, so I've only got that to play with. But the southeast is the area of feminine creativity. It's a place to have lots of pretty flowers and pretty colours, like pinks and greens and kind of pastel colours, and just like, prettiness is perfect for the southeast. Feminine colours. Going around the compass again to the south, which south is fire. It's the area of fire, and it's where the sun is at its peak. And the best colours to have there are therefore reds, purples, oranges, kind of fiery colours, and also fiery shapes. So plants like the red hot poker actually is absolutely perfect to have in the south. It's very appropriate, and it's the shape of a flame of fire, going up into the sky. Those kind of upward shapes is the fire energy. Then the southwest, you can have a little bit of reds, so continuing of the fire, but also kind of coming into earthy colours like yellows and oranges is appropriate, and kind of maybe brown tinged foliage. I think you get grasses and stuff that are kind of on the browner side of the spectrum, don't you? So those kind of colours. And then we come around to the west and the northwest, which is about energy of metal. So Neve, when I was saying about metal energy for you, like maybe there's something about the west for you to spend more time in the west, maybe helps to boost your metal energy. And the colours, actually, metal colours are whites and greys. I mean, you don't get grey flowers, but like the white gardens what's that? It's Singhurst that has the white garden that comes alive at the end of the day. It's that sort of thing, and at dusk you see all the whites. It's the white that kind of glitters like silver almost, and that's very appropriate in the west and the northwest, particularly the west of your garden. As I said, like, I use this as a guide for soft furnishings outside, so cushions and things, and painted furniture. But also when it comes to furniture, like, you either have kind of wooden furniture, garden furniture, or metal. And I would say if you for a garden that's in the east or the south, kind of that side of the garden, I'd go with wood and rectangular shapes ideally. For the west, you're looking at metal furniture, and round tables is most sort of fitting and appropriate to be harmonious. There's a lot around kind of shapes, etc., and that's hard to talk about at this level, but without being kind of tailored to the house in question. But there's something like, so many clients I see who have either a driveway which is completely exposed at the front, and so it's something about building up the hedges to create an arm around. I think we've talked about this before, but it's such an important point. It's to, like, creating an armchair where the house is here, and an armchair of lovely fencing and hedges that holds the energy in front of the house to allow it in healthily, with a meandering pathway to the front door rather than a straight path. And that's really hard to up your path, and make a new one. But if you're designing something, meandering is the way. You want energy to move gently rather than down straight lines. So in garden design, I think that's a design principle anyway, but there is energetic reason for that. Water fountains, I just want to mention, because water fountains are, or features, or kind of like when you get the spheres with water coming over them, they are an incredibly powerful cure that we use in Feng Shui that takes a lot of calculation to work out where to put it as a way to direct energy into the house in a better way. But in principle, the north is a really good and increasingly good area to have a water feature, and it will be for the next 22 years. And I say that because we're just about, in 2 years' time, we'll be entering a new 20-year period. So if you're, lucky enough to have a huge garden and want to put a water feature in, then the north is a place to do it at that high level, without really specifically getting granular on exactly where you put it. The tricky areas to have water, and I say this because if you do have water in your garden and you feel there's something stuck in life, or the house is not supporting you, or even actually money is running out the door. I had one client who had a leak in the drain outside the front in a particular area, and then when they came and fixed it, suddenly she received loads of income from her business. So there's two things to think about there, actually. If you are in an area that is particularly waterlogged, floodplain, I really wouldn't put water features in your garden, because you're just adding more water and draining energy away. So I had a client in Bournemouth area, which is quite a floodplain area, and whilst I'd want to put water to help cure some things, there's just so much water already in her area, it wasn't the right thing to do. But yeah, there are 4 areas of a garden that I would be careful with putting water features in, and that's the northwest, the west, the northeast, and south. So like if you already have something there and you feel there's something up with the house, maybe it's turning it off and seeing if your luck changes, just to have a go.
Great.
That's sort of my kind of
Thank
very,
you very
like,
much.
lots of things to think about.
Fascinating.